Okay, so we're back live now. The network was very funny. So, what was I saying previously? I said every equalizer, if you see every equalizer, no matter the design, there's always, just for emphasis sake, I'm going to load another type of equalizer and I'm going to show you how it's, what it looks like. Okay, so this is another kind of equalizer I'm going to load up right now. So this particular one I want to load up, it's called a graphic. Let's see. Detached. Okay. So this one is called a graphic equalizer. Let me show you how it is. The other one that I load, oh, not this one. Not this one, not this one, not this one. Okay, 1 second. Trying to load it up again. Okay, you see this one here. It's called a graphic equalizer, but I'm looking for I can't find it on the screen, so let's see. Detached, okay. Number 3. So let's see. Okay, good. So that was a graphic equalizer. I was looking for it on the screen, I couldn't find it. Okay, let's just continue. So for every equalizer, there is, sorry. I'm trying to put this back. Okay, good. So like I was saying, I said for every equalizer, there is the light, the low, the mid, and the highs. You understand? Low, mid, and highs. So now, in this case, the low part of this place, the low is usually the bass section. The mid is usually the side that has frequencies where there's no highs and there's no low, there's no bass. It's just there. You understand? Then you have the highs, like you see from 6 to 7 going forward. Yeah, let me drag the 7 here. You have the highs. So the highs, there's no bass there, there's no mid there. It's very important if you want to be a producer or you're thinking of transitioning into a producer. It's very important that you watch this video to the end. And for existing producers also, it's very also important for you. You might learn 1 or 2 tips from this. Now let's continue what we are doing. Now every music you hear, there's always a frequency. Do you understand? It's either it has more of the bass, more of the low, which is the bass, more of the highs, which is like the light treble side, or more of the mid. Now, for a speaker to be complete, there must be these 3 frequencies. It must be bass, which is low, there must be mid, and there must be highs. That's why if you have a speaker and maybe they tell you that the highs is bad. If you look at your horn speaker and they tell you that the highs is bad, let's see if we can get a speaker so I can show you furthermore. So speaker. I'm sure something just changed now. Oops. Oh, I was trying to switch. So now we have a screen right now. So I'm going to show you a speaker right now. I think there should be, let's see. So you see what's happening right now. Now you see these speakers I'm showing you now. So I can just give you more explanation so you understand how I'm getting to somewhere, so I'm taking it slow and steady. That's how I usually do my class. Now you see what's happening right now. You see this speaker, let's say this particular speaker right now. You see this small black thing that is here? This one is the eyes. This is where you have the eyes frequency. Where the eyes frequency is, the low frequency cannot come out from. Okay? So more on the low and less on the eyes. So what does it mean? Now, in cases where you have too many instruments or so many instruments, let's say you have your vocals, you have your lead guitar, you have maybe, okay, let's say for example, you have your drum. This is your kick. You understand? If you have your kick and your kick is having so much low frequency, it means you don't need some of the frequencies of your in the highs, because I mean you need it to have this bass sound. You understand? So you see, so this particular place, now this is the critical point that is very important that you have to learn so that you understand, because we're going to explain this, then we'll go more practical, you understand how this works. Now, you see this place now. Oops. Now, this highest frequency that a kick has, it is useless, because most times you can't even hear it. Do you know why I say that? Let us take off all these guys. Let's bring them down. And you notice that, and we leave only the frequency for the eyes. Now you have to use your headset if you're watching this video. Now what do you notice right now? You notice that, just 1 second. Now you notice that you can barely hear anything when we leave the frequency of this particular kick. We leave only the highest frequency of this particular kick. It means the highest frequency is useless to this kick. It's totally useless. Now let us take it back to the way it was. Go to defaults. So this, you see, now because we notice that this highest frequency is not totally useless, what do? You don't have to leave it there, because if you're leaving your highest frequency, wait 1 second, I'm gonna check something right away. Okay, so if you leave your highest frequency there like that, it is going to affect some other instruments that have natural highest frequency on them. Instrument like your hi-hat, you understand, your hi-hat, your shakers, your vocals, some vocals like soprano singers and the rest, they have natural highest frequency on them. So despite this kick having a little bit of some, you see that some frequency here is towards the highs, all you have to do is cut it out. You understand? You see what's happening right now? So we cut it out. You see? 1 second. All right? Okay. So we cut it out. Now when we cut it out, now this is how the kick sounds. Much more better. We're going to increase the volume of this kick so that you can hear. Let's look for the volume of this kick and increase it. I think it's already increased, but let's do more increase. You see what's happening? Now, when we had our eyes frequency, this is how it was sounding. Oops. Okay. Let's understand. I'm going to reload this plugin right away. So 1 second. All right. So back now. Now, this is how it was sounding when we've not removed the highest frequency from this kick. You see? Now, this is how it will sound when we remove the highest frequency. See? See? Sounds much better. Now, if you notice at this point, the highest frequency is still a little bit there, but it's just a shadow of itself. So what happens is, if you now have something like a snare at that point, the snare has a lot of space to breathe. But imagine you have a snare here or a hi-hat or something here that has more frequency here, and your low end, your bass, is also having a frequency here, which is, we're going to call that bad frequency, because it is not that particular frequency for a kick is not supposed to exist at that point. You understand? So both frequency will be fighting, and that is what gives birth to a sound that is not clear. Remember I told you in the mixing process, total, what we are looking at for is a sound to be loud and clear. If it's not loud and clear, if it is only loud, there's a problem. If it is clear only, there's a problem. It should be loud and clear. So before I know, these frequencies start to fight. I'm telling you now, so those of you that have mixers in your church, you have equalizers in your church, you know what you're doing. So if you're doing equalization for your bass guitar or equalization for your different drum, you want to do your kick. Most times in your in the keyboard, in your equalizer, your mixer in churches, you see there'll be low, there's mid. It's usually in a knob form, low, mid, and highs, or you see treble. You understand? So take note of this. If you're mixing something like a kick, there should be less of the highs. The highs. It's not needed in a kick. A kick is supposed to have a deep sound. And that's why when we've taken off this highs, and also you have to take it off so that if you have sounds that have more frequencies on your eyes, they won't be fighting with the frequency of the kick, because the kick now is having some frequency where it's not supposed to have, and you didn't cut it out, you didn't take it off, so it will be fighting with the frequencies of other sounds, and that leads to clashing, and that happens in the process whereby sounds will not be neat anymore. By the time you use like 5 sounds, you can't hear all the instruments anymore. They are fighting themselves. So you can have several equalizers in your house, your studio, your church, wherever. They all look the same. Do you understand? You see all these ones. You see the knobs this side. They all look the same. This is just a graphic equalizer. There are some equalizers you see, they will not give you this graphic information of whatever sound or instrument you're using. But this one is a parametric EQ. And that's why it is giving you this information. You see, it's telling you that this is where you have. So when you have a sound, most of the things in mixing and mastering, you have a sound, it is you as the producer or as the sound engineer, it is your creativity that you can use to turn any sound to what you want. I can turn this kick to a snare. I can twist it and I make it a snare. So it is your ability to twist and manipulate sound that makes you outstanding in music production. You don't have to depend on loops and the rest things, no. You can also develop a sound to your taste and save those sounds as your own packs. That's what makes it unique. So now we've treated our kick. Now it's now sounding like this, which is much more better. Now let's try another instrument. We're going to try something like clave, or we're going to try shaker. So this is the shaker I'm going to do right now, and I'm going to play it so that you see. 1 second. So I put that in pattern 2. So good. So I'm going to switch this off. Then I'm going to load up an equalizer also. Parametric equal to, yeah. So I'll load that guy up. So I'll load that one. So now I'm going to show you what's going to happen right now with this particular snare. Okay, 1 second. So I'm going to make it detached because I want it to be clear on my screen. Oops, I just deleted it. Oh, okay. I'm just going to load it up again because I want us to see the snare so that you can understand when I tell you this is this particular frequency of this snare and this is where it is. You understand? So good. So this is for the snare right now. Let me show you for the snare. Okay. Industry snare. Let me see. Sorry. Okay. I'm looking for where to insert this. Okay, so we have, let's see. Detached. I want to load up the snare on this device. Okay, that's by the way. Okay, so we have, okay, good. So you see, so this is the EQ I'll be using for the snare. Now let's play, oh, not for the snare, sorry, for the shaker. Now shaker has a light frequency. Shaker has a light frequency, not like a heavy frequency. So this is what happens. Now the shaker is sounding. Let me route it to the snare. 1, 2. Now I see what's happening with this shaker now. You see that most of the frequency in the shaker is in the highs and nothing in the low. You see, mostly in the highs and nothing in the low. But then, if you take off all the frequency of in the highs, you can still hear it. You understand? You can still hear it. It's still going to sound. But then, all those frequencies are called bad frequencies. They are not needed. So look at it. You see, this is where you have more of it. So what do? You take off most of the frequency. In fact, this one is in the highs most time. Is mostly. 1 second. This one is in the highs mostly. So we're going to take off from the low to the mid-range. So we're bringing down all this. Bringing down all this. And we'll leave this guy here. Now, what happened is this. It is not fighting. Now, we're going to load these two guys together. Let's look for the equalizer for. Let's look for equalizer for the kick. Good. So I'm going to bring down the kick a little bit. Good. So the first one on the top is your equalizer for the snare. Let me shut this one down. Okay. 1 second. I'm going to remove it as detached. Move this one as detached. Good. So you see the first one at the top is your equalizer for the snare. Let me zoom in. So I want to zoom in so that you can see. Not for the snare, I keep making that mistake. For the shakers. So you see, one is for the shakers. The shakers is the one playing. You see where the frequency is. Now watch what happens to the kick frequency. I'm going to switch on the kick right now and see what happens. See what happens. You see what's happening now. Now you have your shaker. More of the frequency for your shaker, yeah, and nothing about your shaker in the kick, because that's at this bass side. While you have your kick frequencies with less. So in order for it not to clash more, I'll take off more frequencies of my kick. Good. A little bit more. You see what's happening now? Okay. Now, you see, I can hear the kick and the shakers. Their frequencies are not fighting each other. You understand? So it gives this shaker the room to be heard. The shaker is in its frequency of its own. It is not fighting anybody. The bass or the kick frequency, it's on its own. It's now giving the shaker some breathing space, because every frequency has been arranged at their own different side, which is making it to have more sense. This in turn makes the music to be clear and neat. You understand? See, very beautiful. We all have the frequency that we have. So this is how it is for equalization. Every sound keeps having their different frequencies. So you check for bad frequencies. So if you look at a sound like a clap and different sounds, now let's take for example clap. I want to do something like clap. Now watch what happens with this clap. I'm going to put this into. Now, you see, this is the clap frequency, but this is not it, because I'm using the equalization for my snare, for my hi-hat, for this clap. So you see, it's not going to sound well. Now, let me show you the original frequencies of this clap. You see, this is the origin. So this clap has a little bit of mids in it. So the mid straight to the eyes. So what do I do? 1 second. 1 second. What do I do? I have to take off. There's nothing happening here, so I'm going to take off these guys. Take them off. Now I listen. Is it too harsh? Now, if you listen, if you look very well to this point here, you notice the frequency is there, but it is not so much at the extreme highs than it is here at this mid. So I'm going to take a little off of the eyes, just a little. Good. And what this happens, why I'm cutting off some frequencies here, see what's happening, is so that when I switch on my shaker, it's going to breathe. Now let's switch on the kick. You see? Let me do something that's around the kick. So you see? Okay. So good. So you see what's happening now. So the kick is playing here. The clap is playing here with a different frequency, and they are not clashing each other. It's loud and clear. So the same thing happens. Equalization, it's a very broad topic. applies to both vocals. There are some vocals you hear that are bass. They have the bass. They have bass. So you have to remove the frequencies of that are not wanted. So your creativity is your ability to discern the bad frequencies in a particular musical instrument or sound. If you're able to discern where the bad frequencies are, you've solved almost 80% of your problems. Because it is very important. Once you're able to balance all the frequencies in music, you will not hear your mic doing whoa, 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 whoa. You know, some people when they put their mic close to the speaker, if you balance your frequencies so well, if you take your mic to the speaker, rub it like it is not going to make any noise. And if you balance your sound very well, using your equalizer very well, nobody will be fine. Everybody's sound will be neat and clear. Do you understand? So it's not something that you have to just become a pro, obviously. But this should give you an idea. So even in piano playing, I set my sound. I go and I set the equalization for my piano. I tell the keyboardist or the sound engineer, I say, can you give me more low? I think because some people that have, you think their keyboard is sounding so light. When you take off your jack from your keyboard, it's going to sound heavy and okay. When they plug your jack, it's sounding on the speaker, it's sounding differently. Do you understand? It means there's something wrong. To know your sound of your keyboard is sounding well and okay, it should produce exactly the same sound it produces when not connected to the speaker. You understand? When it's connected to the speaker, to know it's producing a good sound, it should sound exactly the same as it was sounding when not connected to the speaker. You understand? So sometimes when it's your music, you just hear a sound and you just rush and go and play. No. Sometimes the sound engineer have taken off all the eyes from the sound. The keyboard no more have any eyes. It's now sounding too heavy and damp. So it is creativity for you to be able to develop that music ear. So that's why I say in music production, your ear is one of the most important thing, if not the most important thing, because the ability to hear wrong frequencies, pick them out. Sometimes this thing takes days. Sometimes you might not hear a frequency now. When you sleep, wake up the next day, that's when you hear a bad frequency. Sometimes you have to listen to a song 100 times, 200 times, listen to a sound. You understand? So all these you develop frequency. Now, for example, let me say I want to play the piano, for example. Let me select a piano voice, like E piano. Let me go to this, select E piano 1, and I play something like this. So this is E piano right now. I'm using a piano voice right now. So this is let me increase the volume. So I want to show you something. So you see this. Let me say this is the way I met the keyboard. I'm going to keep this on top here so that you can see what I'm doing. Yep, I'm going to keep it here. I don't think it can go for. Now, I'm going to turn this guy. I'm going to give it a default settings. You understand? It's now on default. I'm trying to put it on my key. Okay, I'll take it up, then leave the keyboard down. Good. So now, let's continue. So now you see, this is how the keyboard sounds originally. Let me route the keyboard to, I think it should be 1. So I'm going to route this keyboard to 1. So you see, so this is how it sounds. But this sounds okay. But for example, if you see, when I strike the keyboard, it is more on your mid. Now, if I strike the heavy side, this is what happens. it's going towards your low. If I strike the light side, it's coming towards your eyes. Now, I come to an event and I listen to my keyboard. Maybe the keyboard was set like this. Let me just detune this equalizer, and it was set like this, and I play. You can still hear me, although it's so much like, and I'm playing. I say, "You are God from beginning to the end." You hear something playing like this, something should tell you that there's wrong with the equalization from the mixer. You say, please go and check the equalizer if it's set well. Most times, what I do is I'll listen depending on what's being set. You're able to say, do you need more low? Do you need more highs? Do you need more mid? You understand? Or you go to an event and you see them set the keyboard like this, something like it. It's too heavy. Or like this. Too heavy. Or they take off all the lows and all the highs, and you just leave the keyboard with your mid. It's going to sound like this. You see? Mighty one, great in battle, Jehovah. Doesn't sound right. So it's for you to listen and say, no, there's something wrong, but you have to develop this ear. You understand? You have to develop this ear. So listen. Now, if you want to learn more about music production, you can send me a message and book a one-on-one classes. My classes are very, very affordable because I do 30 minutes, I do 1 hour, I do monthly classes. So my classes start from, you can book a class for like $2. You've gotten a session from me. From $2 upward to $25, but from $2 you've gotten a session, a live one-on-one session, not pre-recorded. And when you have a session with me, you also have the ability to have the video of our sessions, so you can always watch them. You understand? So both for piano lessons, both for live lessons, so you get book a session. So what you have is a keyboard or whatever sound you have. It's your ability. Now, most keyboard, they come with equalizers on them as the function, but a lot of people don't even know that they are natural equalizers. You see your PSR, S series, SX series, there are equalizers on them. You understand? But people don't use them. They don't even know that that's how it functions. If you see this keyboard right now, I've listened to it. I can say, okay, let me take down a little bit of the eyes, a little bit of the eyes, so I have something like this. Sounds much better. So this is how equalization works. It's